it can feel like we're alone in this massive amount of change. But the truth is, we're not the first generation to go through it. We're not the last generation to go through it. And you may be surprised by some of the things that created the same angst in the past. So I do want to take you a bit further in the past, but we'll catch up to where we're at pretty quickly. So let's talk a little bit about fire. Now, the very first recording of fire, man controlling fire, happened around 780,000 years ago. We were able to control the fire, use it to start doing things like cooking. Now, a measly 777,000 years later, the candle was introduced. Okay, that's a big distance of time between fire and candle. So then 5,000 years later, we get the gas lantern, where we're able to take fire and pick it up and move around with it. Then, not even 100 years after that, we get the very first incandescent light bulb. Now, 50 years, approximately 50 years, we get the fluorescent lamp. And then not even 40 years later, we get the light bulb as we know it today. Okay, so you may be asking yourself, this is a great summer, but why are we talking about the light bulb? Because before the light bulb existed, the world of work was drastically different. We could only work during daylight hours. Going out after dark wasn't wise to do, not only for the threat of crime, but also if you were walking and you stepped into a hole and you fell down and, I don't know, sprained an ankle, there was nobody that was going to be coming that would be able to help you until the next morning. We also slept completely differently. We would go to sleep after the sun went down, and then we would sleep for a few hours, wake up around midnight, 1 o'clock. We would have conversation, maybe have a snack, stay up for a couple of hours, and then we would go back to sleep and wake up around sunrise. Candles and lamps created very thick, noxious fumes. It was hard to breathe indoors. We didn't want to use too much light after dark because of this. And also, anytime you have candles, you have a high risk of fire. So the workplace looked different. There was high risk of fire. There were explosions. When you think about mining, there was different sleep patterns. And then the light bulb was introduced. Now, when the light bulb was introduced, it ushered in the Industrial Revolution. Work as we knew it completely changed. It created safer working conditions. It produced bright and steady light without the risk of explosion or fire. Now, what was interesting about this is the Industrial Revolution, when it came, we're thinking, great, this is when everything started just exploding. But the reality of it was there was a lot of pushback around this. You see, before the Industrial Revolution, talking about America right now, most Americans were farmers or produced their own product to trade or sell. And then with the Industrial Revolution, there was a lot of angst around, they're going to be responsible for my paycheck? Well, that's just, I don't know if I want to give that much trust and that much faith into a company. And so that shift happened slowly and with a lot of internal dysregulation, as well as a lot of people just kicking and screaming the whole way. Now, as they were coming into it, shift work was also introduced. Before, we could work when the sun was up. Now, we had lights 24/7. So we could work first shift, second, words are hard, y'all. First shift, second shift, third shift. I don't know if that's as big of a deal as they're making it. I get it for organizations. Me, I worked all 3 of those shifts and not a fan of 2 of them. And then finally going out after night was safer, which also ushered in the nightlife scene. If you have ever enjoyed a cocktail or gone to see a show or a movie after hours, maybe gone to see a 9 o'clock movie, you have the light bulb to thank for it in so many ways. So when we think about a massive change that has happened fairly recently, the light bulb comes to mind. The light bulb completely ushered in a brand new era. I was having a conversation about this with one of my colleagues, Crystal Washington, and she stated, we are in the midst of a Renaissance era. And I remember thinking, I don't remember the Renaissance era having all of this change and all of this pushback and all of the recreating the entirety of the workforce. I just remember paintings of ladies laying down and somebody's feeding them grapes. That Renaissance era I can totally get behind. This one, if I'm being honest, it kind of feels like this is a more accurate representation of the Renaissance era that we're currently going through. You can either be like the Madonna, where you were serene and you were calm and we're going into this and we're like, it's okay, we got this. Or you can be kind of like how I am, more like the baby. Oh, do I have to? Either way, though, we are moving into the workplace of the future. And we think about the Renaissance and everything that they did, the recreation of everything from art to literature to science. It makes sense because we are recreating the workplace